Today's topic is about the Pogba versus Mourinho row, so let's get stuck into it. Last week Manchester United lost 3-2 away at Brighton, and afterwards Paul Pogba, who was Manchester United captain by the way, came out in an interview and questioned his own attitude and the attitude of his teammates. Now, he's been widely criticised for this, and a lot of people seem shocked that the captain would come out and say such negative things. But to me, it's an obvious tactic from Pogba that he's trying to get Mourinho sacked. The number one thing that you would do if you were trying to get the manager pushed out of the club would be to make people think that he's lost the dressing room. Even if he hasn't lost the dressing room, it's Pogba's motivation to make people think that he has, because that's the quickest way to get Mourinho sacked. I don't think this point has been picked up on enough in the mainstream media. We saw it with Ranieri at Leicester the year after Ranieri won the title. Jamie Vardy was essentially running that dressing room, and they downed tools, and Ranieri was gone just within a few weeks of the new season. So it's clear to me what Pogba's trying to do. He will succeed. Mourinho will be gone, possibly before the end of the season, but certainly next summer. Player power has long overruled the manager in football, and it will win again this time. So Mourinho is unfortunately being left behind. He is yesterday's man in terms of his tactics and the way he approaches games, and the modern day footballer simply isn't receptive to his conservative, defensive approach. You know, if you look at Guardiola, Pochettino, Klopp, they're all very enthusiastic, fast, attacking brand of football, and that's just Mourinho, just the complete opposite. And people don't enjoy playing for him. The players aren't enjoying it at all. And unless Mourinho adapts, he will be left behind in the modern game. He could still be successful in cup competitions. He could still win the Champions League with a few draws, few penalty shootouts. He could get Portugal quite far in international tournaments. He'll obviously take the Portugal job at some point. But in terms of a 38-game season, his tactics are finished at this level. He needs to adapt. Now, the problem for him is that he's trying to implement this resilient, conservative approach, but the fabric of the footballer coming through is now simply of a different ilk. He's used to John Terry and those real hardened old school footballers who would put their head where you wouldn't put your feet. Incidentally, check out John Terry getting kicked unconscious by Diaby in the League Cup final, I think it was 2007, and swallowing his tongue, and you'll see what I mean about people who are prepared to do anything for the cause. But footballers aren't built like that anymore, and if we look at all the defensive positions, we can easily see why. So even the goalkeeper now, the outstanding attributes of goalkeepers at the top clubs are how good they are with their feet and their ability to set off attacks. So that's really quite telling when even your goalkeeper is picked for his attacking qualities. That's how far football has gone into the attacking environment. Centre-backs now, the Tony Adams, John Terry ilk of player have gone. Everybody's encouraged to be more of a John Stones cultured footballer who can pass out from the back. Your fullbacks are no longer picked on their defensive qualities, their ability to shut down crosses and tackle. No, that's out the window. Your fullbacks are now picked on how well they can overlap, provide crosses, maybe chip in with the odd goal. So you can see all of the defensive positions are now being chosen for their attacking qualities, and that just doesn't suit Mourinho. He's fighting a losing battle. He's trying to implement a conservative defensive game plan, and he hasn't got the tools to do it because the fabric of the footballer coming through just isn't the same as it was a decade ago when he was successful. So he is being left behind. He needs to adapt, otherwise his time at the top is finished. Just on that, I think the manager generally, we're seeing the end of the managerial role. Most people now will be classed as coaches, just like on the continent, and with American sports, you'll be given the tools by a director of football and then you'll do your best with them. But gone are the days of Ferguson and Wenger where you could run the club from top to bottom. So I think really we are starting to see the end of the manager. Mourinho is a manager, by the way. We're seeing the end of the manager and the beginning of the coach era in football. There are exceptions, of course. Diego Simeone has had a lot of success with Atletico Madrid, being a conservative defensive manager. But he is the exception to the rule. And when he leaves Atletico, it'll be very interesting to see if he can implement the same level of control and have the same success with the same conservative tactics that he's had over the last few years. So that's my take on the row. Anyway, Pogba will win, and unless Mourinho adapts, I do fear for the next 10 years of his career. Probably be successful with Portugal, might win the odd cup, but unfortunately for him, he's being left behind. If you'd like to debate me on anything about football, come and have a go if you think you're smart enough. I'm Professor Footy. If you like this video, please hit like, don't forget to subscribe and leave any comments below.